Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this SPSS assignment. For homework, I'm going to have you do, to enter the column manually for gender, for race, ethnicity, and for score 1. So what I'm going to do is show you how to enter gender, race, ethnicity, and I'm going to enter score 2 and make a histogram and box plots and run descriptives on score 2, and then you guys can do it for score 1. So the first thing I want to do is be in data view down here. So you have variable view and data view. I want to be in data view, and I'm going to do gender first. So I could type in the word male and female, but I want to type in numbers instead of the words. So I'm going to decide to do 1 is male and 2 is female. So if I look at the data set in Blackboard, the first 2 observations are males, the second 2 are females, and so forth. I'm going to pause this while I fill out the rest. Okay, so I've got those labeled. I'm going to click into variable view and go up to the name, and I'm going to type in gender. When you name a variable, you can't lead with a number or a space in SPSS, and it won't let you put a space anywhere, so I use underscores. Now I need to go to this thing called values, and you don't see a button here, but if I hover over the right hand side of that column and click, this dialog box will pop up. And so I know that I said 1 was equal to male and 2 is equal to female. Now I can just hit tab and it will highlight this add, or I can click it with my mouse. I'm going to say OK, and then you can see now I have 1 is equal to male and 2 is equal to female. Okay, let's go back to my data, and now it's labeled gender. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to do race and ethnicity, and in the data set I see I have white, Hispanic, Black or African American, and 1 Asian. So I'm going to do 1 is white, 2 is Hispanic, 3 is Black or African American, and 4 is Asian. So I'm going to do that right. Okay, so I went down the list and added 1 for white, 2 for Hispanic, 3 for Black or African American, and 4 for Asian. So now I need to name my variable. I'm going to call this race underscore ethnicity, and I'm going to come over to my value labels, click the little box. 1 is equal to white, 2 is equal to Hispanic, 3 was equal to Black or African American, and then 4 is equal, is Asian. Okay, so now I'm going to say OK, and then I have one more thing to do, and this one is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and load in score 2. So the first one was 96. Second one is 87, and I'll pause it and spare it. Okay, now I've got all of those loaded in. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say score underscore 2. Now so there's no value label because that's a continuous variable. Now I want to go over here and I want to show you. The first one is a nominal variable. The second one is a nominal variable. And the third one is a scale variable. And the other thing we want to check is that they're all numeric. Okay, a string, if you ever upload something, and I'll show you how to do this later from Excel into SPSS, you may have something that comes over as string. And what that means is it's a word and not a number. Okay, so now we have 3 variables. So we have 3 columns. Each column is considered a variable, and each row is an observation or a participant. Okay, and so what I want to do, the first question is to run descriptives on your score. So I'm going to go to Analyze, and if you ever get confused and you don't know what to do, go to Analyze. That's where most everything that we're going to do is found. Not everything, obviously, but a lot of things. So if you get kind of overwhelmed or lost, go look at Analyze. Analyze, we come down to Descriptives. We're going to go to Descriptives, and box popped up on my other screen. I'm going to highlight score 2. I can double click it and it brings it over, or I can use this little arrow button. I'm going to click on Options, and it says mean, standard deviation, minimum, and maximum, and that's already highlighted, and we're just going to leave it like that. And we're going to say OK, And then my output page pops up, and here we go. Our average is 99, our standard deviation is 23.22. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run histograms. Okay, the way we do that is we go to Analyze, Descriptives, and then we're going to come to Frequencies. Okay, I still keep my score, bring it over. I can also find over here, I could do the mean, the minimum, the maximum, and the standard deviation. So I could have done descriptives from this output page, or this dialog box as well. So I'll go ahead and check those just to show you how it looks in this script or dialog box. So I'll say continue. You don't have to do that, but here I want you to do charts. Everything keeps popping up on my other screen, sorry about that. And I'm going to click this radio button, histograms, and I can show you the normal curve on the histogram, or I cannot. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to show it to you without it, and I'm going to say something about that afterwards. I'm going to say okay. Okay, so again, we get it like this, right? Where we did descriptives and went across, it's the same exact information, but it's just going down. This is a frequency table, right? So we have one score was 51, one score was 61. We had two scores that were 104, two scores that were 110. This is just a frequency distribution. And then here's my histogram, okay? And it's overlaid the normal curve on this, but because this part's poking up here, and these guys are, I mean, yes, the normal curve is overlaid, but it does not mean that this histogram is normal. This has, I'd say, a slightly bit of a left skew to it. So let me do it again. I'm just going to go up to this thing. It says, if I go here, it says recall recently used dialogues. And that'll bring me to what I had just done. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to uncheck normal curve. And there it is without it. And again, here it says 99 was the average, and the standard deviation is 23, and our sample size is 20. Okay. Okay, so now I want to look at box plots, box and whisker plots. And we can do this in a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to go to graphs. We can do chart builder, or we can go to legacy dialogues, box plot. We're going to use chart builder. And it brings this user interface, this graphic up. And what we want is we want box plot. And I'm just going to drag this first one over. The categorical variable goes on the y-axis, and the continuous variable goes on the, sorry, the y-axis. Continuous on the y-axis, and the categorical on the x-axis. So the score is my continuous variable, and I'm going to do it one time for gender, and I'm going to say OK. And you can see that females had a higher score and a much less variable score with this one number 12 person as an outlier on the low end. And then I can go to this recall recently used dialog and go back to where I was and move gender out and try it with race ethnicity and say okay. Okay, and so now we have white, Hispanic, Black or African American, and Asian. And we see that Hispanic did slightly, this is the median, this line here, and then this is the inner quartile and outer quartile. These are the whiskers, this is the box. We have an outlier here, outlier here, outlier here. Everybody did pretty similarly with this one. Why is this just one line? And the answer to that is there was only one person who was in the Asian group, and therefore there is no spread. It's just that one score, and that person outperformed everyone else on this test. And then what I would like for you to do is to do this as well for score 1. And what you can do is you can right-click, hang on, I'll pull up a blank. So I can right-click on this, copy it, and then paste it here. And I think it turned it landscape, which is totally fine. And then you can type in anything you want. Label it, whatever. Let's go back to the output briefly. If I want to type, or if I want to paste in this, copy it. paste it in. Okay, this is not an APA table, and for now, for this class, I'll take things like this until the final project. You will have to turn this into APA. But for now, this is fine. Okay. For the assignment, you're going to do that, but with score 1.